We're live.
All right, thanks, Josh. Good evening, everybody. We'll call to order the regularly scheduled virtual meeting of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board on Wednesday, August 3rd, 2022 at 7:05 p.m. The board members present are Dick Peterson, Kia Baskerville, Elizabeth Conger. My name's Jimmy Praley. Also present with us tonight, we have City Attorney Mike Lyles and Deputy City Clerk Cynthia Gaines. First item is the approval of the minutes. Have the board members had the opportunity to review the minutes of our last meeting? And if so, are there any additions or corrections?
I motion to approve.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All right, the minutes will stand as approved. So before we get into our regular business tonight, we'll state for the record that since this is a virtual hearing, anybody who wishes to participate and submit public testimony can do so by way of written testimony, which will become part of the official record. Anybody who wishes to submit written testimony can do so by going to www.annapolis.gov/ABC. And with that, we will dive into our disciplinary hearing, which we'll declare open. And the first item concerns Middleton's Tavern, 2 Market Space, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. In accordance with the Alcoholic Beverages article, the Annotated Code of Maryland, the Annapolis Charter and Code, and the rules and regulations of this board, this disciplinary hearing is in connection with infraction citation number 227369, alleging the sale or providing of alcoholic beverages to individuals under the age of 21. So if we could have the representatives of Middleton's come forward. All right, I see Mr. Callis. Can you hear us, Nick?
Can you hear me, Mr. Praley?
Yeah, I've got you, Mr. Callis. Can you turn your camera on? Is that possible?
I'm trying.
No problem.
I'm going to try right here. Here we go.
Okay, good.
You got me?
I still see your name.
Hit that again.
Here.
Hit that little, there, you should, there.
No? Am I okay?
I just see a blank screen now.
Yes, sir. I'm hitting this. Just don't understand why it's not going.
See that little arrow?
This one?
Yeah.
Integrated webcam?
Yeah, try that.
Not yet.
Mr. Callis, if you can't do it, I recognize your voice. I know it's you on the other end. I'm okay with you not being able to get your camera on if that works.
Thank you, Mr. Praley.
Absolutely. And I assume you're here representing Middleton's. Who else? Could you introduce the licensee or whoever Suzanne is?
The licensee for Middleton's is Brandon Hardesty.
Okay, is Brandon Hardesty present?
Brandon?
I do not see him in the attendees, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I see somebody by the name of Suzanne.
Suzanne, I believe, was the offending server.
Okay, okay. And Mr. Hardesty is supposed to be here, isn't he, Mr. Callis? Have you heard from him?
Yes, sir. We had interfaced last week, and I confirmed this morning. So I'm not quite sure why he's not in attendance on this particular hearing. I will tell you, Mr. Praley, that after discussions with Mr. Hardesty and the other management of Middleton Tavern, that we submit with respect to the allegations contained in the citation and waive a reading and or hearing. We understand the board's position, and it was an unfortunate circumstance involving a very valuable employee who also carries a security clearance. But she, in fact, at this time admits she was distracted, made a mistake, did serve the minor as indicated in the complaint. And so we would submit with respect to those allegations.
All right, thank you, Mr. Callis. We'll accept your representation. Could you just put your address on the record so that we have it? And I see Suzanne disappeared, but if you have Suzanne's name and address, since she was present, if you could provide that to the Deputy City Clerk, to Ms. Gaines.
I will, sir. I'll do that immediately.
Okay, thank you.
Chair, I
Um,
have that information.
Do you have Suzanne's also, Ms.
I
Gaines?
do.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, Mr. Callis, well, since you've admitted to the allegations in the citation, that will be admitted as evidence in this case, and that will constitute the city's case. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to the board for any questions, and then we'll turn it back over to you if you have any final comment, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Do the board members have any questions of Mr. Callis regarding this infraction?
No, I have none.
All right. No
Mr.
question.
Per- I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Callis, go right ahead. No,
I
go right
would
ahead.
just add, Mr. Pearlie, for purposes of mitigation, that Middleton's immediately reinforced. It has a very strong alcohol awareness policy, a mandate that anyone appearing under 35 years or under is to be carded. As a result of this particular incident, not only was the offending server required to obtain an immediate tip certification, but all serving personnel have been directed to participate in the tips classes, and we hope to have everyone certified within the immediate future. We know we can't do anything about yesterday, but the restaurant is committed to doing something about tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
As a board, I think we appreciate
I'm sorry, Dick, we couldn't really hear you.
that. As a board, I think we all appreciate that you are doing the retraining.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. I really appreciate your candor on this, and you know, the air is human, right? So thank you.
Yes.
Normally, Ms. Bakerfield, the policy is to fire immediately, terminate the employment of any server who violates those alcoholic beverage rules. This particular employee is, as I said, she holds a security clearance, just a fine individual, just made a mistake and immediately admitted to it. There was no excuse. She was distracted. Another bartender was there. She put the beer, I believe, on the bar, and immediately, as soon as she did it, she knew she had done wrong. So we've decided, oh, I saw Mr. Hardesty is coming on board. Mr. Hardesty, can you hear me? Mr. Hardesty?
He's muted.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Hardesty, I'm hoping you heard my representations to the board concerning the acceptance of responsibility for the violation, and also what the restaurant has done to hopefully avoid any violations in the future through the requirement of tip certification for its alcohol serving employees. Is that correct, sir?
Yes. Yes, I heard that, and that's accurate.
Thank you. Mr. Pearlie, we would submit, as I said, and the members of the board, we will submit.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Callis. Well, with that, you know, in the acceptance of guilt, the board will, the admission of guilt, rather. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Gaines, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Since Mr. Hardesty did testify, can we have his address for the record?
Yeah, sure. Mr. Hardesty, can we get your address for the record?
It's 1363 Cedar Avenue, Annapolis, 21403.
Okay, thank you. All right, thanks, Ms. Gaines. Mr. Callis, the board will confer on this matter and will render our decision before our next regularly scheduled meeting, which is September 7th, 2022. Okay?
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Everybody's excused for this one. The next case is Mission Barbecue, and I believe Mr. Callis is going to stick with us through that one, Josh, just so you know. Mission Barbecue, 142 Dock Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. In accordance with the Alcoholic Beverages article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, the Annapolis Charter and Code, and the rules and regulations of this board, this disciplinary hearing is in connection with infraction citation 22-7367, which alleges the sale or selling or providing alcoholic beverages to individuals under the age of 21. Mr. Callis, if you could just put your name and address on the record again, and then introduce your clients for us, please.
It's Nicholas Callis, 90 Cathedral Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. And Mr. Praley sitting next to me is the licensee, Jody Callis. She is privy to the hearing and a participant. And again, this particular entity accepts full responsibility. We waive reading of the charges. We accept the allegations that are contained within the citation, and will only speak to mitigation before the board.
All right, thank you, Mr. Callis. Ms. Callis, if you could raise your right hand, I'm going to administer the oath. I'm going to presume that you're raising your right hand. So do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Callis, you can go ahead in mitigation, then we'll turn it over to the board to see if they have any questions, okay?
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Praley, this particular business is one that I'm also extremely proud of to represent the Mission Barbecue companies. The downtown Annapolis location sells less than 2% of alcohol, of beer, with respect to its food operations. The beer is strictly an accommodation. They, of course, felt great concern about a violation that should not have happened and was inexcusable. As a result of that, they have also embarked on ensuring that anyone associated with the acceptance of an order for an alcoholic beverage will be tips or ServSafe certified in the future. So they are moving as quickly as they possibly can, and I strongly imagine that this particular business will not have another violation of this type. It truly is not an alcohol establishment. As I said, it's 98+ percentage of food to alcohol that this operation has sold since it came to Annapolis.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Callis. Do any board members have any questions?
No, I have none.
All right, well, hearing none, Mr. Callis, thank you for your proffer. We'll confer on this case and we'll render our decision before our next regularly scheduled meeting, which, as you know, is September 7th, 2022. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Mr. Peterson and members of the board, I want the board to know I've been doing this business for over 40 years. Two fine people that I had a chance to encounter was Mr. Praley's father and Mr. Praley. And the combination of him and Miss Gaines gives this board an extraordinary capability and quality that is really, I have not seen in other boards across the state. So board is very fortunate to have these good people.
Thank you for that. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. And we know that, trust me. We're grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Callis.
Good night.
Okay, sir. Good night.
Good night.
All right, well, next up we have the Iron Rooster, 12 Marketplace, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. In accordance with the alcoholic beverages article of the Code of Maryland, the Annapolis Charter and Code, and the rules and regulations of our boards, this disciplinary hearing is in connection with infraction citation 227371, again alleging the sale or providing of alcoholic beverages to individuals under the age of 21. And I believe Mr. Dales is counsel representing Iron Rooster tonight. So we'll wait for him to come forward. Mr. Dales, good to see you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
All right, if you could just give us your name and address for the record, and then I'll have Carl introduce himself as well.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Phil Dales, Lift Walsh and Simmons, 181 Harry S. Truman Parkway, Annapolis, Maryland.
All right, thanks. Carl, if you could do the same thing, give us your name and address for the record, please.
Sure, Ms. Fraley. My name is Carl Werner, 423 Schoolers Pond Way, Arnold, Maryland, 21012.
Okay, great. And Mr. Warner, if you could raise your right hand, I'm just going to administer the oath in the event that you testify tonight. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
I do.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Dales, I'm assuming you've had the chance to read and review the police report. Does your client admit the charges?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We admit the facts included with the citation.
Okay, great. Well, with that, we will admit that report as the city's evidence in this case, and we'll just turn it over to you to proffer in mitigation or to ask Mr. Warner any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We did want to provide some explanation to the board and let you know why we are confident that this will not happen again, let you know what our policies are and what disciplinary actions Iron Rooster has taken for the individuals involved in the mistake. So with that, I'll ask Mr. Warner to please let you know what the policy is, what happened in this case, and what's happened since then to make sure that we don't have another incident.
Thank you, Mr. Dales. First of all, I want to apologize to the board that we're here today. It's something that happened, and we take full responsibility. And since we've been here for 8 years, this is the first time that we've ever got, I want to use the word stung, but we got stung. We have a true high quality policy that stipulates that everybody who eats at our restaurant gets carded, whether they're 16 or they're 99. So, and that's something that we've done ever since we opened 8 years ago. On this occurrence, the young lady asked for the gentleman's license, but she didn't read the date of birth. With that, we terminated her employment per our policy, and she no longer works here. This occurred on May 25th. On April 25th. And by May 25th, we actually closed our restaurant for a whole afternoon to do a tip certification session with all of our current servers. Anybody who wasn't able to be there during that time frame, we followed up with another session of what we'll call our college students who've come to work with us for the summer, and we did a complete tip certification with them also. We continue now as part of our day-to-day pre-games, which we call them, which is before the shift starts. We reiterate ID. We take it very seriously, and I wish to say that it'll never happen again, but we're going to do our best not to let it happen again. We take it very seriously.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warner. If the board has any questions, we're happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Mr. Warner. Thank you, Mr. Dales. Let's see, do any of the board members have any questions?
So is the entire staff tips trained now?
They are.
Okay.
I mean,
Thank
anybody who started, Claire, within the last week or two may not be tip certified, but it will be our process on a quarterly basis. Anybody who has not been tip certified will be tip certified.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, Mr. Dales, anything you'd like to add?
No, I think it is a unique example that Iron Rooster sets by carding everyone, not having any kind of an age limit guideline, whether someone's 15 or 80. It doesn't matter if you think they look 21. Carl has everybody get carded, and that is, in my experience with other restaurants in multiple jurisdictions, it's not very many restaurants do that. It's probably why they've never had a violation before now.
Great. All right. Thank you. We'll confer on this case and render our decision before our next meeting on September 7th, 2022. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank you very
Mr.
much.
Chairman.
Appreciate your time.
Have a good evening.
Appreciate it. Thanks. All right. Next up, we have Carpaccio Tuscan Grill, 1 Park Place, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Again, in accordance with the Alcoholic Beverages article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, the Annapolis Charter and Code, and this board's rules and regulations. This disciplinary hearing is in connection with citation 22 dash, I believe this one is 01730, which alleges the sale or providing of alcoholic beverages to individuals under 21. So who do we have here? Go ahead.
There's no one.
No one? Josh, do you see it? Oh, here we go. Mr. Hovermail's here. Mr. Hovermail, can you hear us? You're on mute right now. If you could click that microphone.
Can you hear me now, Mr. President?
I think I hear you a little too well, unfortunately. I think you might have two. Do you have 2 devices going next to each other?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Okay, can you hear Mr. Pearlie?
Oh yeah, much better. Do you have a camera?
Sorry about that. I couldn't tell which device was working better. There was one of my devices didn't seem to be working, so I just want to make sure we were working here.
Not a problem. Does your camera work, Mr. Hovermail?
Yes, let me see what's going on here. Oh yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Excellent. Great. All right, thanks. Now, if you could just give us your full name and address for the record, please.
Brian Hovermail, 2021 Puritan Terrace, Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay, and if you could introduce the gentleman next to you, if you could give us name and address for the record too, please.
Yes.
Sure, you know. Jose Luis Reynolds Arteaga. My address is 13201 Steeplechase Drive, Bowie, Maryland.
Okay, and then Terry, if you could do the same for us, please.
My address is 1414 Harmony Lane, Annapolis, 21409.
Okay, great, thanks. And everybody who's planning on testifying, if you could just raise your right hand while I administer the oath really quickly. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, I do.
All right. Mr. Hovermail, have you had the opportunity to review the police report in connection with this case?
I did.
Okay, and do you admit the charges?
Yes, we admit the charges. We apologize that evening. We definitely, it was a lack of judgment that evening. We've been very short-staffed lately for the past, 2 years. Jose's been a good employee with us for 11 years and was working a double that day. It was a little bit of lack of judgment. He was the only one working at the bar that evening. He was quite busy. And yes, we admit to the infraction there.
Okay. Well, with that, we will note that the report from the police officer will serve as the city's evidence in this case. And if you have anything you want to add, or if you want to ask questions of anybody, this is your opportunity to do so. I'll then turn it over to the board members to see if there are any questions. Okay.
Yeah. Yes. Everybody's all of our front of the house are tip certified. We've definitely since then even reinforced even a little bit more. Anybody that looks under 40 years of age, they're making sure that they're carding them. We hope this doesn't happen again, and we apologize for this lack of judgment. We were just very overwhelmed that evening and been short-staffed and, trying to get us staffed up. And like I said, Jose's been a good employee for us for 11 years, and, he's learned his lesson. And, like I said, then every 60 days, any new employees that come, we'll definitely make sure they're tip certified. But all of our front of the house is tip certified at this point. We are obviously still trying to bring on new people. So within 60 days of their employment, we have new updated tip certification classes.
Okay. Do any board members have any questions?
No.
No. All right, well, hearing no questions, the board will take this under advisement. We'll confer on this case and we'll render our decision before our next meeting in September, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, next infraction concerns Milindo Cancun, which is at 2134 Forest Drive, Annapolis 21401. In accordance with the Alcoholic Beverages article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, the Annapolis City Charter and Code, and the rules and regulations of this board, this hearing is in connection to infraction citation 22-10725, which alleges the sale or providing of alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21. So who do we have here tonight for Milindo Cancun? Nobody yet. Josh, do you see anybody?
He's coming in now, Mr. Chair.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hello.
Hey, Freddie, you there?
Yes.
Hey. Could you give us your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Harry Somran. My address is 1886 Severn Grove Road, Annapolis, Maryland. And this is Geraldo Cruz. He's from 1078 Sun Valley Drive, Annapolis, Maryland.
Okay, great. If you could both raise your right hand while I administer the oath really quickly. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you are going to give will be true and correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. Have you both had the opportunity to read the citation and police report in connection with this matter?
Yes, we have.
Okay, and do you admit the charges?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so with that, the report will be admitted as the city's evidence in this case. So gentlemen, this is your opportunity to present your case in mitigation to the board. So you can go ahead and do that, and then we'll turn it over to see if there are any questions, okay?
Okay. Yeah, what happened that night? Right now, all our staff is currently tip certified. We make sure that all of the staff check for the IDs for anyone under 40. But unfortunately, on that night, it was a newer staff member, and he was not currently at that point tip certified. So we do, when we start training our employees, our training process includes a big process where we make sure that they check for, the age of the adults, and also that they make sure that they don't overserve, make sure that they don't give too many drinks to people that, that are a little bit inebriated. It was unfortunate what happened with that employee. And at the start of our hiring process, we make it very clearly to our employees that, if they do serve underage, that this is really bad for restaurants. So we make sure to tell them that, they can't do that. And unfortunately, we will let the staff go because of that. Ever since that, we've been having weekly staff meetings, and we have them every Sunday. And we just make sure to reiterate the rules that we need to follow and make sure our staff is following those rules, especially for like serving alcohol underage, and as well as making sure we're not over serving people.
Okay, thank you. Board members have any questions regarding this infraction?
No.
No. All right, well, with no questions, we appreciate you being here tonight. The board will take this matter under advisement and will render our decision before our next meeting. Thank you both.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, next up, we have Sinfron Terrace Cafe, 2129 Forest Drive, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Again, in accordance with the Alcoholic Beverages article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, the Annapolis City Charter, and this board's rules and regulations. This is a disciplinary hearing in connection with infraction citation 22-10723, alleging the sale or providing of alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21. And so I'll wait till we pull the representatives from Sinfron Terrace forward. All right, I see a Mr. or Miss Romero. Is that Mr. Romero?
Mrs. Romero.
Mrs. Romero, sorry. Can you turn your camera on?
What do I do that?
There should be a little
camera.
Oh,
yeah, there's a little button that looks like a camera. There we go. There we go.
all right. There we go. Here we go.
All right. Mrs. Romero, how are you?
Okay, how are you?
Good, thanks. Can you give us your name and address for the record? Full name, please.
Zoila Romero. My address is 109 Edelman Drive, Annapolis, 2143.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Vasquez, if you could do the same thing since you're here tonight too.
Walter Vasquez, 108 Fifth Avenue, Glen Burnie, Maryland, 21061.
Okay, great. If you could both raise your right hands, I'm just going to administer the oath really quickly. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
Yes, we do.
Yes, dear.
Okay, great. Have you both had the opportunity to review the police report?
I have.
Okay, and do you admit the charges?
Yes.
Okay, great. With that, we'll admit the report as the city's evidence in this case. Mr. Vasquez, Ms. Romero, we'll turn this over to you to present your case in mitigation, and then we'll turn it over to the board for any questions. But for now, we'll turn it over to you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
All right. Good evening. My name is Walter Vasquez, and this is Zoila Romero. She's my business partner. We've been in business in Annapolis for 13 years. We are aware of that incident that happened. Unfortunately, that day I wasn't there. I just had stepped out. We've been trying since we opened to avoid the situation. So what we do every single day, we have a piece of paper that it says the day that is what is we're looking for. So for example, today we were looking for the 3rd. So somebody who doesn't have the 3rd on that, we won't know. So it would say it's right there. So every day we talk about that before we open. Fortunately, that day, the lady that worked with us, I don't know what really happened. I mean, it was very bad incident. I wish, we could have taken back, but it didn't happen. So what I can do is make sure we try it not to happen from now on. It's one of those unfortunate situations. Our restaurant is very humble, but it's been well known for service and good food. And unfortunately, this incident really took place in the moment that we didn't expect it. We require everybody to have tips before they start working with us. We pretty much every week, we go through every single step of how we can look at the IDs, if it's vertical or if it is horizontal, everything that is possible to do. But, unfortunately, that's what happened. And from now on, we got to be more careful. So we're very sorry. And hopefully, this doesn't happen again.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Vasquez. Board members have any questions?
No questions.
Sure, I do have one quick question. Is there generally, when there is a bartender or waiter or waitress serving alcohol, is there always either a manager or an owner on site?
Yes, we are. Always is not my business partner, her husband, my wife, and we have a manager. Unfortunately, the place is small and those things happen like when you have a child. It falls whenever you just don't looking at it, unfortunately.
And they know that if there's any question at all with anyone, they know that they can come to you, correct?
They do. And also there is a very, very, very specific instruction. If they don't feel like selling the person, doesn't matter. Do not sell it. I'd rather to lose the sale and to get somebody upset than do something like this happened.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
Oh, Walter, are you guys tips certified also?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Or we hire somebody. You come to my restaurant.
I heard you say that, but I wanted to be sure you and Zola were also tips trained.
Yes, we are.
Okay. Thanks, Walter.
All right. Well, with that, the board will confer on this decision or on this matter, and we'll render our decision before our next meeting. Thank you guys for being here.
So we can just leave?
Yep, you can just leave. That's it.
Wait for you to send us a new letter and say what the damage is going to be.
Yep, you got it. You got it.
All right. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks.
Good night, folks.
All right, next up is Acme Bar and Grill, 163 Main Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Again, in accordance with the Alcoholic Beverages article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, the the Annapolis Charter and Code, and this board's rules and regulations. This violation is in connection with infraction citation 22-11994, alleging the sale or providing of alcoholic beverages to individuals under the age of 21. Mr. Crabtree, can you hear us?
John, you're muted.
Mr. Crabtree, are you there?
Yes, is that better?
Yep, that's much better. Do you have a camera that you could turn on for us?
I thought I had it on a second ago. Let's see if this works. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Any better?
Yep, much better. Much better.
Okay, thank you.
If you could just give us your full name and address for the record, please.
John Crabtree, Crabtree, 865 Coachway, one word, in Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
All right, great. And if you could raise your right hand, just in case you're going to testify. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
I do.
Okay, great. Now, Mr. Crabtree, have you had the opportunity to read the police report?
Yes, sir.
And do you admit the citation, or excuse me, do you admit the allegations contained in there?
We do.
Okay, great. With that, we will enter the report as the city's evidence in this case. We'll turn it over to you now to kind of tell the board what happened in mitigation, and then we'll see if any of the board members have any questions, okay?
Sure. Obviously we take the fact that we carry a license in the city of Annapolis very seriously, and it's an honor that we hate to let you guys down with this situation. But in this particular interest, which I want to make it clear that we're not making any excuses. We were during a shift change, which takes about 4 minutes, usually occurs around any time between 4:30 and 6, depending on the evening. Shift change meaning they're turning over account, who's been there, who's there. One bartender's coming in to take over for another bartender. And the terminated employee, who was the one found to have served, felt guilty because her excuse was that she didn't want the person waiting that long. One of the things we try to pride ourselves on is customer service, and she felt guilty. But like I said, that is no way a excuse that we accept.
Okay. Do the board members have any questions of Mr. Crabtree?
I have none.
I just have a comment, Mr. Crabtree. You guys are a staple on Main Street and in Annapolis, and therefore, I think you guys, it's really important to represent, and you guys have, for the most part, done a really good job. But
thank you. I appreciate that. But we are, and that's something that we do. Don't take that challenge lightly. For us to, we are very proud of our position in Annapolis, and the situation was sickening for us. I mean, I always say that, as much as I care about the board, I care about my mom too. And, disappointing anybody in the family is not something you're real proud of, obviously. This is a family run business that we're very proud of. And we can't apologize enough.
yeah, and thank you for that. I appreciate that. Having a mom, I know.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Crabtree. So we will we'll take this under advisement, and we'll render our decision before our next board meeting. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night. All right. Next, we have Level, 69 West Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Again, in accordance with the Alcoholic Beverages article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Annapolis City Charter and Code, the rules and regulations of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Board. This is in connection with citation 22-11998, alleging the sale or providing of alcoholic beverages to individuals under the age of 21. And I think I see, who do we have here tonight from Level?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yep, gotcha. If you could just give us your name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Yes, it's Jennifer Sowers, and address is 8365 Capel Drive, Pasadena, Maryland, 21122.
Okay, and is that Mr. Sowers who's with you there?
It is.
Yeah, it's just my head though.
It's all right. Mr. Sowers, same thing. Name and address for the record, please.
Eric Sowers, 8365 Capel Drive, Pasadena, Maryland, 21122.
Okay, great. If you could both raise your right hands, please. I'm going to administer the oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the statements and testimony you're about to give be true and correct?
I do.
I do.
Great, thanks. Have you both had the opportunity to review the police reports in connection with this case?
Yes, we have.
Okay, and do you admit the charges?
Yes, we do.
With that, we will admit the report as the city's evidence in this case. And just like the other hearings that you've been witnessing, we'll give you all an opportunity to tell the board what's going on, what you're doing in mitigation, and then we'll see if there are any questions. So with that, I'll turn it over to you. Okay.
Thank you. First, I'd like to say that this is our first infraction, and we take it very seriously. It's my husband and I bought Level about 5 years ago, and we take a lot of pride in doing things right and legally. And so we were mortified that we had an infraction. So with that said, we always have extensive training for employees, and that was in the form of a handbook and then also on the job training. And Sam had the server that was involved in this infraction. He had actually started as a host, and we were very happy with him. He was a wonderful guy. So we had promoted him to server the week before. And so this happened on the 7th of June. He completed his training on June 1st. And this was his 4th shift that he had worked on his own. So I think that part of it was his nerves. He is a younger guy, and we had just had pre-shift. I think this was around 5 o'clock. We had just had pre-shift and talked about serving responsibly, what to look for, carding anyone that looks under 35. And so when this happened, the manager and the rest of the staff were just kind of in awe that you know, he had, I guess, had nerves and neglected to card. So after that, he was really mortified that he had done that. And so we had to take him off of being a server. We offered him to be a host again. He declined and is therefore no longer with us. So I take it very seriously. So I went back and looked at our training materials, and I have since added more extensive training, and I also made it online. And then they also have to go through a testing process before they're allowed to be on their own on the floor now. So, and that not only carding, but also identifying people that are intoxicated, as well as what their responsibility is, because Eric and I don't want any of our staff to be in the position to cut someone off. We would rather take on that matter ourselves, just to protect them and their tips, essentially. So we've always told them all that, you know, you come to us if there's a situation you're uncomfortable with, and we'll handle it. So there should be no barrier to them feeling comfortable carding people. So with that said, we have had tremendous turnover over the past month. And so we're working through getting all of those new people tips certified. And this is all, you know, in an effort to never have this happen again.
All right. Thank you. Board members have any questions of Ms. Sowers?
Yeah, I guess my question is, and forgive me if I missed hearing this, but is any of your staff tips trained?
Oh, yes, yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
So it's not just like, it's training here and there. I mean, they are certified.
No, it's within 60 days. Just at this time, we have folks that are going back to college or different situations. We had a lot of teachers with us. And so we're kind of hiring new people on so that other folks can go on, and they usually come back to us, around Christmas or so. But yeah, we do.
Thank you.
Any additional questions from the board?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Well, Ms. Sowers, I appreciate your candor and appreciate you being here tonight. We will render our decision before the next regularly scheduled meeting, which is September 7th, 2022.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Good night.
All right. Next up, we have the Hilton Garden Inn, 174 West Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. In accordance with the Alcoholic Beverages article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, the Annapolis Charter and Code, and the rules and regulations of this board, this disciplinary hearing concerns infraction citation 22-12000, alleging the sale or providing of alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21. And I see Ms. Schreckengast. How are you?
I'm well. Good evening.
Good evening. If you could just give us your address for the record, please.
Certainly, Leanne Schreckengast, 102 West Pennsylvania Avenue, Towson, Maryland, 21204.
All right. And Mr. Lynch, are you there?
He's on mute.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Could you just give us your name and address for the record too, please?
Yes, Jason Lynch, 1250 Partridge Road, Spartanburg, South Carolina, 29302.
Okay, great. And Sergeant Fitzpatrick, good to see you. If you could just give us your name and address for the record here too, please.
Yeah, Sergeant David Fitzpatrick. It's 199 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Okay, great. And I see Mr. Kemp just joined us as well. Mr. Kemp, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Just same deal, Mr. Kemp. If you could give us your name and address for the record, and then if possible, turn your camera on.
It's 1531 Waterbury Road, Crownsville, Maryland, 21032.
I'll give you a second for the camera, but if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world.
I've never used them before.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. If Mr. Kemp, Mr. Lynch, and Sergeant Fitzpatrick, if you could just raise your right hand, I'm going to administer the oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the statements you're about to give are true and correct?
I do.
Okay. Mr. Kemp, did you answer in the affirmative?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thanks. Ms. Schreckengast, have you had the chance to take a look at the police report here?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and do you and your clients admit the charges?
We do. We admit
Okay,
to the
great.
charges in citation.
Okay, thank you. With that, we will admit the citation as the city's evidence in this case. And Ms. Schreckengast, will turn it over to you to present your case, testimony proper, combination of both. Go right ahead.
Thank you very much. Well, first of all, I want to apologize to the board for taking your time on this issue. None of us want to be here for such an unfortunate incident. I will tell you that this location has been open for 5 years, and this is the first violation. I personally have been representing OTO, the parent company of this location, for 17 years. In Maryland, this is the first violation that's ever come across my desk for this company. They run a very tight ship. I will tell you that the individual in question here, unfortunately, did not follow their policy, which at the time was to card anybody who looked under 30. He did not ask for identification. They have now changed their policy to card everyone, so there is never an issue like this ever again. The gentleman, the server, was alcohol awareness certified. He was given a 1-week suspension and came back for it. Most companies feel like, a lot of companies take the position like you make a mistake, we're going to let you go. A lot of companies also realize that once you make a mistake, you're highly unlikely to ever make that mistake again, and you become some of your better employees. So he was kept on after his 1-week suspension. This incident occurred on June 7th. By June 21st, every single server who's involved in the sale or service of alcohol was recertified through the Serve Safe Alcohol program. They use this as a teaching incident to remind their employees of the new policy and of the importance of carding at the location. So unfortunately, that's where we are today. And like I said, OTO runs a very tight ship, and I'm very proud to call them a client. I hope the board takes that into consideration during your deliberations.
All right, thank you, Ms. Schreckengast. Does the board have any questions of Ms. Schreckengast?
No questions. I just appreciate getting still carded there. So thank you.
It's always nice, isn't it?
Right.
All right. Well, with that, we'll confer on this matter, render our decision before our next meeting. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all very much.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Next up is Fox's Den, 134 Main Street, Annapolis, 21401. Again, in accordance with the alcoholic beverages article, the Annapolis Charter and Code, and the rules and regulations of our board. This disciplinary hearing is in connection with citation 22-12585, alleging the sale of alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21. And we'll give it a minute for the individuals from Fox's Den to come forward. But in the meantime, Sergeant Fitzpatrick, can you just give us your name and address for the record one more time, please?
Yep. Sergeant David Fitzpatrick, 199 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fox, you there? I see Mr. Vincent. Hey, Chris, can you hear us? Brian, can you hear us? Can you, you're muted. Can you click the microphone for us?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we got you, Chris. Do you have, can you turn your camera on? Do you have a camera?
I do have a camera. I'm not sure why it's not working.
That's all right. If you click it a couple times, and if it doesn't work, that's all right. There we go.
There you go. There
Great.
you go.
Name and address for the record, Chris, if you don't mind, and then Brian, I'll ask you to do the same thing, okay?
Chris Fox, 9 Old Riverview Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Great. Brian, same thing.
Brian Vincent, 1001 Delaney Lane, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
Okay, great. If you both and Sergeant Fitzpatrick could raise your right hands, I'll administer the oath really quickly. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct?
I
Yes.
do.
Okay,
I do.
great. Mr. Fox and Mr. Vincent, have you guys had the chance to review the police report?
Yes.
Okay, and do you admit the charges?
Yes, we do.
Okay, well, with that, we will admit the police report as evidence in this case, and we'll turn it over to you, Mr. Fox, to present your case to the board. Then we'll see if the board has any questions, okay?
Sure. We acknowledge our fault. We're not making any excuses. All of our employees are well-trained. They are all tip certified. All of our employees in our company for 20 years have always been tip certified. It was an unfortunate incident. Our employee in question has worked at the Den for 4 years. She's a great person, a great employee, and she definitely made a mistake. So we are making no excuses for it. She is apologetic and she knows she was wrong. We did not terminate her. We took everything into account and she was suspended. And we took into account her good track record with us for years. And so we don't have an automatic termination policies. We take, if we ever had an incident, we would judge it by that moment. And we do have a 20-year track record of no infractions. So we actually never had to go through this with an employee. Everyone is updated on tip certification. We reiterate to the staff every single shift. All of our restaurants have always had a pre-shift meeting before every single day before we open. Not just once a week, but every single day. And every single day, an owner, I or Tommy or Andrew mention the importance of carding everyone that looks under 40 years old. So we just can't make it. It's just, it is a one-off, but there is no excuse. And we are just hoping that it never happens again.
All right, thanks. Do the board members have any questions?
I don't.
I do not.
No, just appreciate, I will say, I know you guys have been in business for a long time, and I'm sure, the city is grateful for all that you guys do. So thank you.
Thank you. And we're apologize for your time on this. Just hope it doesn't happen again.
That's why they pay us the big bucks.
That's right.
That's what I say.
Yeah. So we'll confer on this matter and we'll render our decision before the next regularly scheduled meeting. Okay.
All right. Thank you very
All right.
much.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Lido Pizza and Pasta, 505 South Cherry Grove, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. In accordance with the alcoholic beverages article, the Annapolis Charter and Code, and this board's rules and regulation. This disciplinary hearing is in connection with citation 22-12570, alleging the sale or providing of alcoholic beverages to individuals under the age of 21. And who is here for Lido Pizza tonight? Looks like Lido Pizza is here.
Hi, this is Curtis Nolan. Can you hear me?
Yes, Curtis. If you could just give us your name and address for the record.
Yes, it's Curtis Nolan, 1505 Marlin Lane in Huntingtown, Maryland, 20639.
All right. Can you turn your camera on by any chance?
Yeah, let's see here. Is it the little blue plus sign?
Yeah, it kind of looks like a little video camera.
I see Lido Pizza and I see I guess
Nolan.
It's supposed to be me there. Let me see here. Start video. There we go.
Yeah, there we go. See if that works.
Okay. Wow.
All right, excellent. Thanks. And Sergeant Fitzpatrick, if you could just give us your name and address again for the record, please.
Yep, Sergeant David Fitzpatrick, 199 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
All right, thanks. And now you can raise your right hand. I'm going to administer the oath to both of you. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct?
I do.
I do.
Okay. Thanks. Mr. Nolan, have you had the opportunity to review the police report and citation in connection with this disciplinary hearing?
Yes.
Okay. And do you admit the charges?
Yes.
Okay. With that, we will note and admit the police report and the citation as the city's evidence in this case. Having admitted the charges, Mr. Nolan, this is your opportunity to present your case to the board in mitigation. So we'll turn it over to you and then we'll see if the board members have any questions. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Yeah. So the case that I wanted to have the board consider is the following. Now, this is not the first time that I've had to present in this situation, unfortunately. So I apologize for that. We like to be a pillar in the community. We do a lot with schools. We donate a lot of cash for schools, like True Value Harbor and things like that. We do a lot of deliveries with St. Anne's School and Annapolis Area Christian School. So we want to be, like I said, a pillar in the community. So the case I want to present is that this individual, Wilmer Sosa, my employee or ex-employee, he made a decision. I'm not going to make any excuses here tonight. This was not a mistake on his behalf. This was an absolute decision. I submitted some documents to Josh. I know I was a little late on that, so I had some documents I wanted to provide for the board. So the first document I had was an incident report that happened on June the 2nd, where my manager on duty, John Kramer, caught Wilmer or witnessed Wilmer pouring a draft beer for a customer. Now, Wilmer was only 19 years old. So we pulled him to the side, we drafted an incident report, and we expressed to him in detail, reiterated the policies. You cannot pour beer. You're in Maryland, you 21 to actually serve alcohol. So he was apologetic and signed off an incident report. Anyway, so on June 13th is when the operation, the violation occurred. So 11 days later, he took it upon himself to serve the cadet. And this was at just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So the situation presented itself like it was a mother and son coming in on, a very sort of innocent situation. But our policy, which he signed before this happened, our last violation, which happened a few years ago, was that we did the whole business. We're going to card people that look like they're 35 or over. So after the last violation, we said, no, it's just 100% ID check, regardless. That was the policy that he had adhered to and was trained upon. And he took it upon himself to make this decision again, to just flat out do this. And that's what's so frustrating in my position, because after he poured that draft beer on June the 2nd, then 11 days later, he gives the beer away again. It's kind of like, where's the thought process and the young people that are working for you? He was a good worker, by the way. If he wasn't a good worker, I would have terminated him on the first violation. We would never even be here tonight. But I had to, look at how good of a worker he was, and try to work with him on this situation. And we figured after we reprimanded him on the first time on June the 2nd, he would have maybe come around, so to speak, but he didn't. So I had a stern conversation with him the following day after the violation on the 13th with the city police. And, in this conversation, he got choked up and teary, because I had to explain to him. I said, this is putting him a lot of pressure here, because not only could I get fined up to $1,000, I could lose my license, which I pay a lot of money for annually. This is a very important aspect for us to be, to have in our restaurant, even though, we only do about 1.5% of our sales annually is alcohol. So it's such a small piece. So it's never an important thing for me to try to sell alcohol. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm making a lot of money off of it. It's just sort of a sidebar. People don't come to Lido's to sit around and watch, sports and drink. It's just, people might have a beer, pizza, but so in this conversation, I got a little stern with him. Obviously, it was a situation that I don't want to be in. He got choked up and teared up and kind of walked out of the restaurant and tried, to compose himself. And at that point, he never came back. And then he resigned his position by not showing up for the rest of the shifts. So my intention was never to fire him. My intention was to work with him, because I did value him as an employee. He was excellent with customers on the phone, in person. He was always punctual. He was a lovely worker. He just had this case where he was not going to, follow these particular rules. And the only thing I could tease out of him in that meeting before he kind of choked up and walked away was that, I asked him, I said, how often do you do this? And he said, several times he wouldn't check identification. And I asked him, why? We have to check ID. And his approach was that, the public is intimidating sometimes. And when I have young people working up front, I don't have career bartenders. I've got plenty of people on staff, including myself, that are serve safe, trained. But, going back to that 1.5% sale, like, we're mostly selling pizzas and chicken wings, and I've got young kids working up front. When you have an adult, and you ask them for ID over and over and over again, they're like, I'm want to be your grandfather or your grandmother. You don't need to see my ID. After a while, I kind of I think the mindset is with these young kids, like, it's the path of least resistance. I know that if I ask this person for ID, chew me out. So what I'm trying to do with my younger staff is that reinforce with them, we're here to back you up. My manager on duty today was Mark Summers. He was in the back working with we had an oven repair going on at the time, so he was actually in communication with this person when this happened. But we're always there to back our staff up, and we always tell them, if you ever have, I'm not even comfortable checking an ID, please just seek out somebody who is older and who is comfortable doing that. Because once again, no sale is really worth it. So that's kind of where we stand. Like I said, our policy has been 100% ID check. So what we've done is we have plexiglass shields in front of our cash registers. We've posted new signs alerting the public. So when you first walk in, you see on that plexiglass, you're going to get carded. So don't balk about it. That's just the way that it is. And, and I really put a lot of thought into the whole, I guess, intimidation factor or the awkwardness of checking identification. So I've been considering getting one of these readers where you can actually insert the identification in there, and it'll read. It's pretty accurate from what I understand. It'll come back and say, yeah, it's valid, it's green, it's a go, and they don't have to sit there and try to look for the birthday, because that's even asking a 17-year-old to put that responsibility on them. It's a lot, and when, like I said, when you're dealing with the public, and the public thinks they have the inherent right to just bully, young kids around, it's just, I can understand where they're coming from in that situation. But this is an unfortunate occurrence, and I'm sorry that this happened. But we are, trying to take responsibility for this and move forward. And just like the board to recognize that I feel like if this young man made a decision that ultimately hurt me, because I'm the one here tonight speaking. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Board members have any questions?
I have none.
I don't have any questions, but thank you for being incredibly thorough with that. And, I can certainly, in the past as a manager for things, empathize, and I get it. So I really appreciate your honesty and your candor. And, I wish you nothing but good success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I really recommend looking into that card reader. It's foolproof. It's expensive, but it can be worth it. So
yeah, oh, that's good. I haven't had much experience with it, and I don't mind spending money for something, but I want to make sure that it's that it is cool and it'll work for us. And I think that'll really help these young kids to feel more confident. So yeah, because they're with the technology anyway. If I could get them to check IDs on cell phones, it'd be great, right?
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Nolan. We'll confer on this matter and we'll render our decision before our next meeting.
Appreciate that.
Thanks. Next, we have Main and Market, 914 Bay Ridge Road, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. In accordance with the alcoholic beverages article of the annotated code of Maryland, the Annapolis Charter and Code, and this board's rules and regulations. This is a disciplinary hearing in connection with citation 22-12576, alleging providing or sale of alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21. Mr. Hogan, you there? Oh, great.
Hi, we're here.
Gotcha. Your name and address for the record, please.
Thomas Hogan, 845 Coachway, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Okay, ma'am, same thing.
Christina Rossetti, 6 Rockwell Court, Annapolis, 21403.
All right, Sergeant Fitzpatrick.
It's going to be Sergeant David Fitzpatrick, address 199 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Okay, and if everybody who's planning on testifying could please raise their right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be true and correct?
I do.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Hogan, Mr. Rossetti, have you had the opportunity to review the police report?
Yes, we have.
Okay. And do you both admit the charges contained therein?
We do.
Okay. With that, we will enter the report as the city's evidence in this case. Now, what we'll do is you've probably seen in the past couple of hearings that we've done, we'll turn it over to you to present your case to the board by way of mitigation, and then we'll turn it over to the board members to see if they have any questions. Okay.
Thank you very much. We're sorry for this unfortunate incident, and we'd like to let you know we have been in business for 25 years in Bay Ridge. Our alcohol sales account for less than 5% of our sales. Doesn't mean much, but I can tell you we are 100% tips trained now between the time of the infraction. So we're making it a requirement and taking it seriously. And we're very sorry. We're professionals, and hope this does not happen again.
Okay. Aside from tips training, everybody, are there any other procedures that you've enacted since this infraction with respect to carding? Do you have a carding policy or anything along those lines?
Absolutely. Everyone who looks under 30.
Okay.
And, you know, it just, and our server that it did happen to, we did not terminate. She's been here for 15 years. She's a pro. It's just one of those things. She got caught off guard and made a bad mistake, bad erring judgment.
Okay.
And it's unfortunate, but we're diligent and we're going to be on top of it.
All right. Thank you. Do any of the board members have any questions?
I do not.
Okay.
I've been carded there, so I'm grateful. Gray hair and all.
All right. Well, thank you both for being here. With no additional questions, board will confer on this matter and we'll render our decision before our next hearing date. Okay.
Thanks, Jimmy.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
All right. Next, we have Ruth Chris Steakhouse, 301 to 303 Severn Avenue, Annapolis 21403. In accordance with the Annotated Code of Maryland, the Alcoholic Beverages article, the Annapolis City Charter and Code, and this board's rules and regulations. This disciplinary infraction is in connection with citation 22-12579, alleging the sale or providing of alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21. And if everybody who's here on behalf of Ruth's Chris could unmute themselves and turn their camera on.
This is Steve DeCastro. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you. There we go. Now we can see you. Steve, if you could just give your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, Esteban F. DeCastro, 13614 Fox Stream Way, West Friendship, Maryland.
Okay, and then Mr. Buscemi, can you do the same thing, please?
Yes, sir. Nicholas Buscemi, 10812 Powers Avenue, Cockeysville, Maryland.
Okay, Sergeant Fitzpatrick, and if you could do the same, please.
Yep, Sergeant David Fitzpatrick, 199 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Okay, everybody who may testify, please raise your right hand and I'll administer the oath. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you are about to give will be true and correct?
I do.
I do.
All right, gentlemen, have you had the chance to review the police report in connection with this matter?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
and do you admit the charges?
Yes, we do.
Okay,
Yes.
with that, we will admit the police report as the city's evidence in this case. Just like the other hearings that you've seen, we'll turn the matter over to you. You can present your case to the board at this time, and then we'll see if there are any questions, okay?
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to apologize for this incident. We do take this very seriously. Unfortunately, the server that committed this is no longer with us. Since then, we have certified every single employee, server, bartender, all of our management staff is also certified. Besides that, every Saturday we have what we call a pre-meal. It's a manager's meeting with all the staff, and that is on top of our agenda every single Saturday. Like I said, everybody's been certified as well.
Okay. Mr. Buscemi, anything you want to add?
Yeah, we just have a zero tolerance for that. Wrote up a disciplinary action, sent a young lady home, found another server to take the shift, continued to resume service. Yeah, it was a very unfortunate thing. We do apologize about that. Something we don't take lightly here.
Okay. Thank you. Do any board members have any questions?
Do not.
No?
No.
All right. Well, with no questions from the board, we will confer on this matter and we'll render our decision before our next meeting. Thank you both for being here tonight.
Thank you so much, and we really do apologize.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks. Take care. All right. Last but not least, in our disciplinary hearings tonight, we have the Wet Dog Cafe. 7082 Bemby Beach Road, Annapolis, Maryland 21403. In accordance with the alcoholic beverages article of the annotated code of Maryland, the Annapolis City Charter, and this board's rules and regulations. This disciplinary hearing is in connection with citation 22-12578, alleging providing or selling alcoholic beverages to an individual under the age of 21. Mr. Tinkler, if you could give us your name and address for the record, please.
Oh, yeah. Scott Tinkler, 7074 Bemby Beach Road, Annapolis, Maryland, 21403.
Okay, thanks. And Sergeant Fitzpatrick, sorry to make you do it again, but if you could give us your name and address, please.
Sorry. Sergeant David Fitzpatrick, 199 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 2140.
Okay, thanks. If you could both raise your right hand, I'll administer the oath quickly. Do you solemnly swear and affirm under the penalties of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is true and correct?
I do.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Tinkler, have you had the opportunity to review the police report in connection with this matter?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and do you admit the charges?
Yes, we do.
Okay, well, with that, we will admit the report as the city's evidence in this case. Mr. Tinkler, we'll turn it over to you. You can present your case to the board at this time, and then we'll see if the board has any questions, okay?
Okay, thank you all board members for your time. Yes, our server did make a mistake. We're very sorry about the mistake. Everybody on our staff is tip certified and has been tip certified. And since the incident on 6/13, we now just card everybody. It just seems simpler. We're not a bar, we're a small cafe, so we don't have the volume a bar would have. So it's not that difficult to just card everybody. So that's the simplest solution to keep this from happening in the future. And we were diligent. This is our 9th year of having a license, and we've never had an issue before this. So we're very upset about this, and the person, the server is a great employee and always been a great employee. So they made a mistake. So we're trying to move forward on that, and carding everybody, I think, will eliminate this in the future.
Okay, thank you. Do the board members have any questions?
No.
No? All right, well, hearing no questions, we'll confer on this case and we'll render our decision before our next meeting, which is scheduled for September 7th.
Thank you for your time, everybody.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Tinkler.
Bye-bye.
Sergeant Fitzpatrick, thanks for being here tonight. Appreciate it. And you're excused. Thanks so much.
Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
Take
Thank
care.
you, Sergeant. Appreciate it.
Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Onward, we'll declare the disciplinary hearing closed and we'll move forward with new business. The first item is an application for consumption of alcoholic beverages on city property for a Sweet 15 birthday at the Stanton Community Center, which is scheduled for Saturday, August 20th, 2022. From 4 p.m. until midnight, 92 West Washington Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Do we have anybody here for this event? All right. I guess not. Josh, you don't see anybody sitting there? Looks like
I see Miss Donica Mitchell in the attendees.
Donica Mitchell's the next one. This would be a Sila Herrera's or Herrera and a Jocelyn Herrera.
Yep, here she is. She's
Okay,
coming.
great.
Hello.
Hi, Ms. Herrera.
Yes.
Hi, could you just give us your name and address for the record, please?
Hi, my name is Jocelyn Terrazas Herrera. My address is 5800 Crane Highway, Bowie, Maryland. Zip code is 20715.
All right. Thank you very much for being here tonight. Why don't you tell us a little bit about this Sweet 15 birthday party, what you're planning, and then we'll see if the board has any questions, okay?
So we're gonna plan to celebrate my my sister party, and so it's gonna be like familiar. So I don't think so it's gonna be any problem there.
Okay, and it looks, you say you're gonna have about 150 people there?
Yeah.
Okay, how many people are gonna be under 21?
Maybe it's gonna be 80. I
80
mean,
under?
under, or I mean, like,
Under. How many people? How
Uh,
many people under 21 do you think are gonna be there?
let me check. Give me 1 second.
Oh, you can just an estimate is fine. I just kind of want to know what the ratio is gonna be.
Yeah, maybe 8. I mean,
Okay.
80. Yeah.
All right, and you have here that you're putting wristbands on people, so everybody who's over 21 is going to have a wristband.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. And you've got security that's going to be there.
Yeah.
Who's doing your security? Do you know?
So I don't remember the name of the security, but of the whole they provide to us.
Okay, Stanton Center is providing it for you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. All right. Do the board members have any questions? No?
I have none. We wish her a happy birthday.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and the Stanton folks, security wise, they do a great job. So I wish you nothing but the best on this.
All right, well, with no questions, do I hear a motion regarding this request for a one-day liquor license for consumption on city property for a Suite 15 Saturday, August 20, 2022 from 4 p.m. to midnight, 92 West Washington Street, Annapolis 21401.
I motion to approve.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, great. Your request is granted. Have fun.
I thank you so much.
Thank
Enjoy.
you.
Really appreciate it. Have a good
Be
night.
safe.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Next, we have another application for consumption of alcoholic beverages at the Stanton Center. This time for a 70th birthday party scheduled for Saturday, August 13th, 2022, 6 to 11 p.m., 92 West Washington Street, Annapolis 21401. Ms. Mitchell, can you hear us?
She's muted.
She's muted.
Okay, can you hear me? Sorry about
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. Do you have a camera that you can turn on?
I am trying to, okay, start video.
Oh, perfect.
There we go.
There you are.
Great. Thanks. If you could just give us your full name and address, please.
Yes, it's Donika Mitchell. My address is 7974 Knoll Park Court, apartment 203, Glen Burnie, Maryland, 21061.
All right. And why don't you tell us a little bit about this 70th birthday party?
Yeah, so this is for my mom. It's basically going to be a small family gathering, just something special. I've never thrown her a party before, so this is the first and last. It's been stressful, but yes, my guest list consists of about maybe 30 people or so.
Okay. All right. Are they all going to be over the age of 21?
Yes.
Okay, great. And again, I'm guessing you got Stanton Security, or the Stanton Center provided you with security for this thing?
I did.
Okay,
yes.
Great. All right. All right. Does the board have any questions about this event?
No, just a comment, Danica. It's good to see you again. I wish Mom happy 70th. And you said last. I'm hoping maybe there might be an 80th you can throw as well.
She's just not going to plan it.
It's just my first party, and I'm just have so many emotions going on right now, so many moving parts. So
I bet. Wish you nothing but the best. You'll rock it out. Good for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right. If there are no other questions, do I hear a motion regarding this request for consumption of alcoholic beverages on city property for a 70th birthday, August 13th, 2022, from 6 to 11 p.m. at 92 West Washington Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right. Your request is granted. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Take care.
Have fun.
Happy
All
birthday to Mom.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Next, we have a request for a Class C one-day license for Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts, the Annapolis Symphony Orchestra. 2 dates here: Friday, September 30th, 2022, and Saturday, October 1st, from 6 to 10 p.m. at 801 Chase Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Mr. Coughlin, good to see you.
Great to see you all again tonight. Thank you.
Could you just give us your address for the record, please?
801 Chase Street, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Okay, why don't you tell us a little bit about what's going on with the symphony orchestra events?
This is their opening weekend for their 2022-23 season. We'd like to serve beer, wine, and water for about an hour before each of the two, and then they will have an intermission. So we'll reopen with a 20-minute intermission, and then we shut down as they go to the second part of their concert.
All right, and two dates.
We'll just before we'll serve out of one of our art galleries right there on the same floor as the main entrance to the theater.
Same setup that you guys always do. Nothing's changed.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you.
All right, and it's Friday the 30th and Saturday the 1st, right? 2 days.
That is correct. Yes.
Great. The board members have any questions regarding these events?
I mean, you've done this so many times, right, Dennis?
I'm getting to know you all.
Yes, you are.
You're an old pro, Dennis. You'll be fine. Good luck. Have fun.
All right. With no more questions, do I hear a motion regarding this request for a Class C one-day liquor license to Maryland Hall for the Creative Arts for the Annapolis Symphony Orchestra on Friday, September 30th and Saturday, October 1st from 6 to 10 p.m., 801 Chase Street, Annapolis, 21401.
Motion to approve.
Claire, I think you're saying second, but you're muted. But I'll take that as a second.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Your request is approved, Dennis. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Good luck,
Good night,
Dennis.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. We're going to combine items 20 through 24, which all involve the Naval Academy Athletic Association. We've got several requests for special Class C one-day liquor licenses by the Naval Academy Athletic Association. This is for beer, wine, and liquor, including live music for Navy versus Delaware, which is Saturday, September 3rd, 2022, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Navy versus Memphis, which is Saturday, September 10th, 2022, from 1:30 to 6:30 p.m. Navy in Tulsa, which is October 8th, 2022, from 1:30 to 6:30. Navy versus Houston, which is Saturday, October 22nd, from 10 to 3, and Navy versus Temple, which is Saturday, October 29th, from 1:30 to 6:30. Mr. Bland, Mr. Gibbons, good to see you both. If you could just put your names and addresses on the record for us.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Bill Givens, and my address is 8 North Southwood Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Good evening. My name is Curtis Bland. That's 818 Nancy Lynn Lane in Arnold, Maryland.
Okay, great. Thank you. Mr. Cook, if you could do the same.
And good evening, Joe Cook, 3844 Glebe Meadow Way in Edgewater, Maryland, 21037.
All right, thank you all. Mr. Gibbons, I assume you'll be presenting tonight, or Mr. Cook, and Mr. Bland, you can fill in as you want. Just let us know a little bit about these events. I'm assuming you're doing pretty much the same thing you guys have done for the past couple of years.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. The Naval Academy Athletic Association and our concessions partner, Sodexo, represented by Mr. Curtis Bland, are requesting that we're here to request a special Class C one-day liquor license for the home football games at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium for 2022, the dates and games that you had mentioned. We'll be playing we'll be playing 5 home games, Navy home games this year, plus the Military Bowl. And as we did last year for our home games, we would like to serve beer to the general public, which will have the following measures in place, which is our standard operating procedure. Stadium gates will open 2 hours prior to kick. We are looking to sell beer at our concession stands throughout the stadium and also to be served in our VIP areas. All sales will end by the end of the third quarter. This is a ticketed event. As is our procedure in Sodexo's, there will be 100% ID checks, and those served will be wristbanded upon proof of age. Sodexo servers are all tips trained, and they are empowered to refuse service to anyone they feel is intoxicated. There will be a limit of 2 beers per customer per transaction. We will have Safe Management Security, our soft security provider, on site, as well as Annapolis Police and Annapolis Fire, working all of our events. They will roam the concourse and aisles, proactively looking to prevent underage drinking. The entire stadium perimeter is enclosed by a fence, and ingress and egress is through gates staffed by safe security. No beer or alcohol will be allowed to enter the premises or leave the premises. And finally, Special Event Medical, our medical provider for Navy athletic events, will have EMTs in our 4 first aid rooms located throughout the stadium, and will be on site for the duration of the event should we have any situations arise. Mr. Chairman, as you mentioned, we have a track record of serving beer at previous events and believe that we have the policies and procedures in place to accommodate beer sales in a safe, responsible manner. Fortunately, we've not had any issues in the past with any alcohol-related incidents. I do believe with Mr. Bland's trained servers, limits on beers, 100% ID checks, our security staff, Annapolis Police, plus our medical staff that we have on site, all help to mitigate any issues before they arrive. I thank you all for your time, and myself, Mr. Cook, and Mr. Bland will open it up to questions. Do you have any about our plan for the upcoming season?
All right, thank you, Mr. Gibbons. Do the board members have any questions? Mr. Gibbons, Mr. Cook, or Mr. Bland?
I think, Mr. Gibbons, you gave a very, very detailed information for us there. And we know you've done this many times in the past, so I personally just wish you good luck.
Yeah,
Thank you, sir.
You guys run a tight ship. So
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, well, no other questions. Do I hear a motion for approval for these one-day liquor licenses for the home Navy games, which are Saturday, September 3rd, 2022, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., Saturday, September 10th, 2022, 1:30 to 6:30, Saturday, October 8th, 2022, 1:30 to 6:30, Saturday, October 22nd, from 10 to 3, and then Saturday, October 29th, from 1:30 to 6:30.
Go, Claire.
I second.
Sorry.
No, you,
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Granted. Thank you so much. And we'll move to our last one on our agenda. Again, it's with the Naval Academy Athletic Association. This one is for the Military Bowl and Tailgate Party. Again, we have an application for a special Class C one-day liquor license, beer, wine, and liquor, including live music, for the Naval Academy Military Bowl and Tailgate Party, which is Wednesday, December 28th, 2022, from 10:30 to 6:30 p.m., 511 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401. Mr. Gibbons, Mr. Cook, Mr. Bland, I'm going to ask you all to state your names and put your addresses on the record again, please.
Okay, Bill Givens. My address is 8 North Southwood Avenue, Annapolis, Maryland, 21401.
Curtis Bland, 818 Nancy Lynn Lane, Arnold, Maryland, 21012.
Joe Cook, 3844 Glebe Meadow Way, Edgewater, Maryland, 21037.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gibbons. Go right ahead.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I would say that the Military Bowl for the last 2 years has been a COVID casualty, and we're excited to get it back again this year. The third time's a charm. We're hoping to be playing that game on the 28th. All of the policies and procedures that we have in place for the 5 Navy home games will be in place for this event, including the tailgate, which is out in the parking lot. It will be completely fenced in. Security will be at the entrances, and just like the stadium, there'll be no alcohol allowed in, no beer allowed out. We'll have police out there as well, and medical personnel as well. That event will shut down 30 minutes prior to kick. And then at that point, everyone will come into the stadium, and the policies and procedures that we have in place that I mentioned previously will be enforced for this game as well.
All right, thank you. Do the board members have any questions regarding the military bowl application?
No.
I have none.
All right, hearing none, do I hear a motion regarding this special Class C one-day license? Again, for the Naval Academy Athletic Association for the Military Bowl and tailgate party Wednesday, December 28th, 2022 from 10:30 to 6 p.m. Located at 511 Taylor Avenue, Annapolis 21401.
I motion to approve.
I second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, your request is granted. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you all.
Thank
night.
you.
Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good night.
All right. Now we've got a couple items that we need to go through in an executive session. So I would move that we exit and we reconvene in an executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.